everyone. Welcome back to the Closet Confession podcast. I'm your hostess, Maria. And on today's episode, actually, I wanted to announce that this is called Closet Confessions because initially I wanted to start talking about different things, but I've been very inspired to kind of focus more on my faith. So maybe it's going to be Closet Confession Christian edition, the next episodes from now on. It's going to be my testimony, but I'm also going to have other guests that they're going to talk about their testimonies and share their experiences, their road to finding Jesus, and how they get closer, how they strengthen their faith and everything. So let's get back to today's episode. It's going to be about something that I have been struggling for a long time. It's forcing, which is pretty much like the opposite of having faith. I've been struggling with this for a long time because I believe that part of it is that I left my country when I was really young and I didn't have anybody in London, so I had to figure out things myself, find a job, find a college, responsible for my bills. So yeah, the fact that I had to figure things out and I didn't have anybody to support me made me very independent. And at that time, I wasn't very close to God. No, I wasn't close to God at all, actually. So this is kind of like in my system, always trying to figure out things, but it gets to the point that I get obsessed and I feel toxic, and then I get very disappointed if things are not working out. And the other day, I was watching this podcast, and it said how forcing things, it's when you're acting out of desperation and scarcity, and waiting, or I would say believing, is when you act out of faith. It did give us a lot of examples from the Bible, like the story of David, the story of Joseph. These people had a lot of faith and they waited, they didn't give up, they didn't rush anything. And then they had what was written for them happen. So I explained how I believe I'm kind of obsessed with finding ways, manipulating situations, always forcing. And that could be with work, that could be with somebody that I'm trying to pursue, just feeling wrong. Even when you watch a movie, you see that the main star, when something happens to them, it's not something they force. That's usually the enemy. In a movie, it happens. It's not forced, The guy shows up when the girl least expected. I'm a romantic, so you know what I mean. But yeah, I feel that it comes from real life. Movies come sometimes from real life. And I wanted to be effortless and I wanted to be natural and organic. But at the same time, I cannot help myself from forcing things and manipulating situations. So one of the teachings through that on that podcast is waiting. And it's really hard for me because I'm also impatient, and nevertheless, waiting, it feels endless, it feels so long, but we have to realize that this is a preparation period. Because God's time is always the right time. And I have so many examples. Which one should I start with? Maybe, okay. So I was trying to figure out a way to get a green card, and I found this O2 visa that I could apply for. That was me getting obsessed, doing things, researching, trying to manifest. I got scammed. Yeah, I paid $5,000 and it was a scam. And I found out, I went to the gym and I was trying to reach out to the agent, and she was having dinner. I told her, you haven't even submitted it, tomorrow's our deadline. Anyways, I realized that it was a scam. And in the gym, I broke down. I felt so hopeless, so disappointed. And that same day, at the same place, when I felt the most hopeless, I got a phone call. No, actually, I called somebody to tell them what happened, and they gave me a solution, a much better solution, ideal solution. Because if had I taken that visa, then I would have to keep renewing and spending more money, doing more interviews. The thing is, that phone gave me the best solution. I'm talking about a green card, a 10-year green card. Yes, it was a little bit more expensive, but it felt right. I felt that I could trust this lawyer that was recommended actually by a friend. It was the perfect solution and the perfect situation for me. And I didn't force it. I was the most hopeless I've ever been when it comes to getting my green card. So waiting, and I can give you an example. You want to compete, okay? And you cannot wait to go on stage, but you have to put the work. You have to do the training, the dieting, rehearsing your posing in order to step on stage and bring the best you can. Otherwise, you're gonna go on stage and literally embarrass yourself. And it's the same with everything that we need in life. We don't know what the right timing is. We think we do, and we cannot wait. But we're not God. Our wisdom is so limited compared to God's infinitive wisdom, and we have to learn how to trust. Another example, my twin sister and her husband. They met 4 years before they got married, okay? And my sister was forcing, trying to go on a date with him, and he would ghost her or whatever. And it felt toxic, it felt exhausting, and really I'm not sure. But look at them 4 years later. They kept running to each other, bumping to each other, and went on date. And they got married in I think it was less than a year. Yeah. And they've been married for 7 years now. But it was not the right timing. Maybe God gave them, a little taste, but they were not ready. None of them. I know my sister wasn't. She wasn't in the right place. And apparently he wasn't either. So trusting and waiting, I think it's very important. And also when it comes to jobs, to something you want to get into, if that's the desire that is been given through God, I think he's going to give you all the tools to make it happen. But you have to wait. You have to wait and you have to put the work. So if you feel inspired, I would say go for it. But don't get obsessed over it. And the same with people. Don't get obsessed over people. And maybe I'm making this video because I need to digest more. Because I've been trying with this specific person. I get obsessed and it does feel toxic. It's definitely not from God. It's toxic, it's exhausting. It has really highs and really lows. And I do pray. I'm like, if this person is right for me, please bring him closer. But if it's not from him, please remove him from my life. I don't want to waste my time. Maybe it's a learning experience, but it's really hard for me to let go. So please remove him from my life. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of examples I can bring when it comes to forcing and allowing. But then he would ask, so how do I know if a desire from God? I think that deep inside we know. I think we do. Because when something is from God, it brings us peace. It doesn't bring us toxicity and anxiety and doubts. I mean, of course, when you want something and you go for it, you're going to be stressed because you care. But you do know the difference of stressing and getting overly obsessed and doubting yourself and just a negative feeling. I think that's the proof if something's from God. So waiting, having faith, and praying. I think these are 3 great tools. We have to deal with the situation. That's all I wanted to talk about today. If you relate with me, please, I would love to know on your comments. Is there anything that you are getting obsessed with? Either a job, a person, something that you want to achieve, that you feel that is toxic, or a situation where you actually waited, like my sister's situation, and it came to fruition with God. That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you guys at the next one.